scientific method cannot justify the scientific method. Therefore, it itself is a dogmatic religious presupposition.
All right, you about ready, Jamie?
I'm ready.
All right. Get this goofy picture off of here. Road joking and whoever that creature was. How are you tonight?
Good.
Good. Something a little different. We are going to be talking about a topic we have never discussed on my channel. Ever. I've never done a single issue podcast talk on this. Now, I've written some articles on feminism and that kind of stuff. You can all find that in the archives at Jay's Analysis, but I've not done a discussion with anything to do with the opposite sex. Why not have an opposite sex on? That would be you. And so, as I said in the description of the show, what are relationships? Do they exist? Are they all doomed? What are men? What is woman? Does it exist? Do we have any roadmaps for how to navigate male and female if they exist? What two planets do they come from? Mars and Uranus? Mm-hmm. Jamie joins me to discuss some books and talks that she perused on this subject. And given the fact that my life has been pretty much nothing but failed relationships with females, only females, why not have some assistance from someone who I am having a successful relationship with, namely my fiance, Jamie, who looks beautiful tonight. How are you?
Good. You look good too.
I know. Ha ha ha. It's a joke. You can laugh. You don't have to get upset. Oh, there she goes. Now I see they're going to be like, ha ha, she didn't laugh at his cringe again. It's okay.
No, I'm not upset.
Now, let's give a caveat, because you read a evangelical book, and then you read some Orthodox books, and then you listened to Father Cosmos, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you took some significant notes here. You've been studying this actually, you've studied this for a long time. I presented so many problems to you that you delved into how to navigate men. Right. And so you put a lot of time into this, but more recently you put the last several weeks into.
Well, I would say I wanted to do a relationship the right way so that it wouldn't fail and we wouldn't go through.
And all you have to do is read these books, and then it will all work. Right.
It's a good start.
So what's up first?
We have a lot of books to get through before August, and I thought we could do a little mini series on marriage, kind of like your globalist book series. We'll have a mini series on
like all the different globalist marriages and who's married to who. Okay.
And how good they are at life and marriage, and because they're so romantic. But first we have If He Only Knew by Gary Smalley.
Okay, so this is the evangelical book, and
this is what men need to read to understand women, and then it has a companion book, what women need to read to understand men. They're light read. They're not.
You are a woman, correct? Do you find that the book that you read is correct? Does Gary understand you chicks?
It could be deeper. Well, because I think that dating right now is getting so horrendous that they can't even keep up with issues and problems. So these are really good, but they're not very detailed for
there's no chapter in the Gary Smalley book on how to handle your lover's secret furry issues.
Right. Yeah. So we got that one. We got an Orthodox book. So you guys can read these with me because we're not going to talk about them all in one night. So if you want to pick up these, this one's called One Flesh by Lawrence Farley. We got one, Who Become One by Antonius Caldas and Irene Atia. And the last one is The Mystery of Marriage, A Fellowship of Love, Hieromonk Gregorius.
Yes. So we got the Orthodox ones, and then this evangelical one. So where you want to start? What are you going to tell us about?
Let's start with. Oh, and I'm listening to this series on marriage and family by Priest Monk Cosmos of the YouTube channel is called Orthodox Talks.
Okay.
And he's from the monastery of the Archangel Michael in Sydney, Australia. So he's got a fun accent and he's got hours and hours on lots of different topics, but he had a whole series on marriage.
Okay,
so
I'll link his male-female marriage discussion. Yes.
So we can start
be properly ecumenical.
Only 2 out of the 6 books
kidding.
are
It's fine.
Protestant. The rest
I think we can navigate it. I don't think we're going to turn Protestant because of a Gary Smalley book, but yeah.
Well, it's interesting because the Orthodox have an even more unique view about marriage than even Christians do. And they take it more seriously. They teach a lot about how, well, I guess let's just start with Priest Monk Cosmos comments. In the beginning of the church, he said that people who criticized marriage were anathema. So it was so important to the ancient Christians that to even say anything bad about it, you were saying something bad about Christianity.
Yep.
St. John Chrysostom, who we get the liturgy from, the most topics that he wrote about, the first one was marriage, the second one was entertainment, and the third one was how to spend your wealth. So he thought marriage was a very important topic. The first video I watched of Priest Monk Cosmos is called Better to Marry Than to Burn with Passion. And he starts out by saying that...
Which is a quote from St. Paul, but yeah.
Yeah. He starts out by saying that a lot of Christians and Orthodox Christians especially go wrong by reading a lot of saints that were ascetics and monastics when they're not leading an ascetic monastic life. So it's good to read those. It's good to read the church fathers, it's good to read all that. But if you are going to live in the world, if you're going to be married, if you're going to have a family, you should also look for books that were written by married saints and people who are living the kind of lifestyle that you are living, because you hold yourself to different standards, you have different priorities, you have different needs in your spiritual life. So you need to find people that are going through what you're going through, right? Because it's not practical to go out and try and live an aesthetic life when you have children. You have to take care of them, right?
Well, we're all going to be living a kind of ascetic life within the cycle of the church year, whether you're married or you're in a monastery. But yes.
Well, a marriage life can be just as much of a aesthetic, holy.
It's a martyrdom.
Saint creating. Yes,
it's a martyrdom.
Literally. That's what the crowns are for. When you have a marriage ceremony in Orthodoxy, you are crowned king and queen of your own domain, but also these are your martyr's crowns too. So
I feel like there's a boomer joke waiting in here somewhere. Like, well, I better get a crown. I better get a crown if I'm gonna have to put up with this.
Because she almost kills me every day.
Yeah, I'm a martyr every day. She martyred my credit card.
There is some truth to that, and it's funny. Like
that
sometimes
that you were gonna martyr my credit card. That is true.
Yeah, but the long suffering husband who is like you can tell he is like this is his cross to bear is kind of
Yes,
amazing.
women are the sweetest things that God made and also the most bitter things that God made at the same time. And I'm sure women feel similarly about men.
Yeah, probably. So he says that um, a married person can attain even a more holier state than a monastic, depending on what they have to overcome, what their circumstances are. Uh, he says that monastic life can be hard in its rigory and monotony, but also easy in a way like if you go to boot camp, you don't have to think about lots of things. Like you're told what to do basically every hour of every day. Um,
What do you mean, told what to do?
so for people with different temperament, like in boot camp, they have your schedule all laid
Oh,
out for
yeah, yeah,
you.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
monasticism can be very much like that. So if
Yes.
you're that temperament that you like to be have a rigid structure with authority, then maybe monastic life
Yes, exactly.
would be easy for you.
Exactly.
But it would be hard for somebody who misses companionship and family, free play, stuff like that. So he said that salvation should be the basis for wanting to get married. And because number one, not the purpose of marriage is to protect you from sexual immorality. So children are a byproduct of that family stability, community, nation. They're all a byproduct of protecting individuals from engaging in, sexually immoral things that can destroy their soul.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because that's the most important thing. So he goes on to say whom to marry and whom not to marry in the second video that I watched. So obviously, don't marry for superficial reasons, because looks fade. Don't marry for money. These are kind of obvious, virtuous reasons or criteria to pick a mate, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the landscape has become pretty difficult because of all the cultural toxic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then most of the time, marriage can make the situation for most people very difficult. So, because marriage presupposes a more traditional ordering of society. So when the society becomes inverted, marriage can become a landmine in many
Mm-hmm.
many cases. So you're fighting an uphill battle, and even marriages in the church fail quite often.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So outside the church, it's even more of an uphill battle. So the criteria needs to at least be the same faith. And I would say
Mm-hmm.
to young Orthodox guys, you can also, it won't always happen, but you might be able to find somebody who's willing to convert. That's the ideal here.
Does this show get comments and super chats and stuff like that?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
That's why we do it.
I can't see them. Only you can see them.
You don't need to see them.
No.
They will distract you all the.
Okay. So who should marry, who should not marry, and who should you marry and who should you not marry? Does that make sense?
Yes. So
15?
tell us
Okay.
how to navigate this.
Okay, so some people, he said, and increasingly so in this culture, are developmentally arrested emotionally. They might have a stable job, they might look functioning on the outside, but they have the emotional maturity of, say a teenager or
Right.
not somebody who's not ready for marriage,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And
And it's hard.
I experienced that myself. I think if I had gotten married to the couple previous engaged or almost engaged people, I don't think they would have done well because I needed to get to a certain point in my maturity level, which for me, I think as the generations go by, we're seeing the maturity levels. It takes people longer and longer to reach that level of maturity. where they can
Yes,
even
if they
potentially
even
have.
will
I'm not
ever
saying
do
that
it.
I will necessarily be successful in every. I'm just saying that to get to where you could be potentially successful, I think people are older and older and older because of the arrested development in this society and this culture. And then even then, you've still got a lot of challenges.
Yeah. So, obviously don't marry somebody who is a low functioning, um, someone with a lot of problems, someone with a lot of addictions, someone with sociopath tendencies, narcissist tendencies. He said people, obviously, we're in the business of, healing and rehabilitation and repentance and the road to that. So there's no perfect mate. But if the person has acknowledged their things they need to work on and their flaws, then you don't just have to like throw the baby out with the bathwater when you find somebody who has a problem or a flaw or something. If they're working on it, if they're acknowledging it, then you can proceed, right? Yeah. If they're on the path to repentance and going to church and things like that. So,
but even that
he
can't.
said that,
but we have to be careful because again, that's not even a guarantee. There's no silver bullet guarantees for anybody on anything in this life because just because you're both going to church and you're committed, you're going to have challenges and tests down the road that will try to drive you both or either of you from church. You may marry somebody who 10 years down the road decides they don't believe in anything anymore. You just don't know. So anyway, go ahead.
He said, knowing someone well doesn't necessarily mean it will be a solid marriage. So just because you know everything about them and have vetted them for a long, long time, doesn't always mean that it's gonna work out better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How do I put this? Just knowing a lot about someone doesn't mean that you have a basis for marriage. He said that opposites attract for a reason. They complement each other. When one person is weak at something, another person is strong. Do you remember when we took that premarital quiz for the premarital counseling? And areas that I was really low in, you were really high on the graph, and vice versa. Yeah. So
money, hotness, popular, fame, fortune. No, I'm joking. Yeah. Right, because I have a strong personality. You're much more.
And I have a soft one. Yeah.
You're Microsoft like Gil Bates. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Microfibers. He says
we have a unique chat tonight. I'm having to police both things. It's funny.
What's
tonight.
Happening? Tell me.
The conspiracy is whether I'm actually a black dude. So tonight's chat is not really about. We're talking about marriage, and they're like, "Dude, what if Jay is secretly a black dude?" And so would be a funny twist because, as we know that for a long time, people speculated that I was actually that screenwriter Jay Dyer, who is a black dude, and then it would be an interesting screenwriting twist if I actually was that dude the whole time, and it was all a ruse on all of you. So anyway, the chat has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So proceed.
When you do that impersonation of the black dude, that's your real self.
I know that's
and
the
all
real.
All of this
that's
is
the
just
alter me, and I'm in whiteface.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
By the way, I did get an approval from the black community, from a black dude, that my Bill Cosby is on point. And he said, I represent the black community and I affirm your Bill Cosby. So.
Nice. Let's see.
Proceed.
Dating. Modern dating, he says, is not useful. I mean, that's kind of obvious. Number one, because of paranoia being compared to previous partners on both sides. Number two, you need to find out who the person who asks you out, what is their intention towards you and your life. So if if they don't have an intention of marriage, if they don't have an intention of relationship or being open to that, then it's just a waste of time, basically, and a disappointment and a means to temptation.
Right. That's becoming a problem because of the idea of everyone thinking that, like, for example, women all think that they're going to delay everything. I can do all this stuff, get my legal juris, whatever, and then I can postpone the relationship until I'm 45, and then, suddenly they can't understand why men don't care that you have your juris degree and that you're a CEO of Makeup Incorporated. No man cares. So they spent all this time gathering an independent security that they thought would make them happy, but it doesn't. And my point is not that, I mean, we live in a situation where it's impossible in many cases for one spouse to work and the other not. In many cases, both people have to work. I realize the realities of the modern world, but there's no, in any of these choices that you make, there's a trade-off, right? You're going to have to trade off. If you postpone having a serious relationship until you get all your career stuff done, there's a trade-off, and the trade-off is that, well, you're going to be 45 and you won't be able to really bear children. So when you get older, you realize, maybe I want some kids. Too late. So you see what I'm saying? There's always a kind of a trade-off in these things.
Yeah, definitely. And so not everybody has a virtuous intention towards you, and you kind of have to be careful in dating, because remember that
there's some players, play on player. What's up, player?
I mean, on one hand, you have girls who just want gifts and to play around, like you said, and have their career, and guys just want lots of different women. So you have to be careful. Remember that movie Cruel Intentions with Reese Witherspoon?
Yes,
and Ryan
which
Phillippe?
is an insightful movie into human manipulation.
Yeah, so not everyone is just, innocent and looking for love kind of person. A lot of people are too immature for a relationship. We've talked about that. They have not yet learned how to relate to everyone else in their life in a peaceful manner. Their parents, their siblings, their coworkers. If they're having lots of problems with relationships outside of a romantic relationship, then they're not going to be.
Yes, this is why you have to learn the key lesson that eventually the way to solve this dilemma is to amass hordes of wealth and buy everyone's love and affection. That's what I did. And it worked. So now I have loving family relations. I bought them all off. You just buy your enemies off. You do the mobster approach. Just throw your gifts around. Yeah. Throw some gifts around.
Hey, I need to shut the window because it's raining.
Make it rain. It's raining. Woo, make it rain.
Made it rain and got some friends.
I made it rain by making friends. I bought my love from my friends.
Make it rain in relationships.
That's my next rap song that's going to make you cringe even harder. Is I'm going to talk about how I bought all of my friends and all my love and all my relationships.
A good exercise to do when you find someone that you like, go to the 1 Corinthians 13 chapter about love, he said, and replace the word love with that person's name. And if it fits, then you have a good potential partner. Love is patient, love is kind, love is long-suffering. All of those attributes of love, replace that word with that person's name. And if it fits, then good to go. Excellent. He said there should be, instead of dating, their friendship to courtship phase, and the interest is linked to a potential engagement. So straight to the point. No trying on lots of different partners, no sleeping with lots of different people, no living with lots of different people. It needs to come fast. He says that love comes after the marriage and not before. So I guess what he's trying to say is that you can have affection towards somebody, you can love them, you can, have these feelings, but there's a certain something that comes after the blessing of the ceremony and many years together, which is more closer to the idea of
sacramental in our view.
Yeah, covenantal and sacramental. He says a successful marriage is the same as a successful spiritual life. And so this is one means to salvation. And if you have successfully navigated this relationship and kept your marriage together, then you can be pretty sure that your spiritual life is on point, right? He said, people who wait too long to settle down and be monogamous pay the price later. So that's exactly what you just said about women and their careers. And that same could be said for men and their careers, or their just waiting too long, being with too many people, and then you can't pair bond anymore because you've been through too many cycles of it. So like you said, waiting too long, you'll pay the price. Also of, watching landmarks pass you by, you're the only one without a family at a certain age, and it's harder and harder to attain those things, exactly like you just said. He said, in marriage, there's no room for feminism or chauvinism. So none of those ideals can exist. Then the next one is marriage, agony or blessing. Obviously, negative attitudes towards marriage is not going to have healthy relationships. He says that the single life equaling fun with no responsibility is kind of not, what's the word I'm thinking of? It's not true.
It can be true for elaborate on that. How so?
Just because
it's not permanent. It's like a temporary phase for most people.
Yeah, because you're just catering to your passions, and you haven't undertaken any. You're just catering to your passions, and you haven't undertaken any responsibility that will bring out your virtues and help you in your salvation. Right.
Okay.
He said, obviously man is the head of the family. The alpha male is the one with the most responsibility. So he's the one that takes care of the pack, gotta buy the house, gotta buy the car, gotta buy the, not in money, but
you're quoting Riff Raff. That's funny.
Yeah.
Show you how to be the man, how to be the boss,
exactly,
how to come through with 7 coats of the glove. Go ahead.
Show you how to be the man.
But yes, that is the man is in charge of bacon. Ideally.
Protect and provide. Real men have a lot of pressure and responsibility, so that's something that women have to be sensitive to, is all of the things that he goes through to provide. He says you can control your passions by being of service to others. So even in your marriage relationship, if you are in the servant role, then this helps you to control your passions. Okay. What did I say? Friends to courtship. Ask your priest to pray for you and bless your relationship, he says. Don't think you'll be better off with someone else. So once you've kind of, been married or engaged or serious or whatever, you're in the commitment zone, it's not very beneficial for you to always be comparing your mate to other people and wondering if, I would be better off with so-and-so. What?
That's good advice in the present day, because we live in a culture where you're always being thrown and thrust with all these different options in your face. So that's something that we all need to be aware of.
Yeah, because he's like, 9 times out of 10, you won't. That problem is within you, not being satisfied, not within the other person. That makes sense.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah. So, the grass isn't always greener. And what's that word? Hypergamy, they always use.
Get that upgrade.
Trying
About to get
to,
that upgrade.
yeah, upgrades.
I'm always
So
gonna get that
hyperbole bad.
upgrade. Gonna upgrade.
Be happy with what God has blessed you with. Um, he says, if your partner is difficult, don't say no to your cross. This is after marriage. You know, you don't have to marry anybody, and you don't have to marry someone you don't want to. But if you are going to do that, then you have to take all of their failures too and their flaws, and that is your cross to bear, and vice versa. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about suffering helps us in our spiritual life. Remember, Jonah said no, and then things just got worse from there. So,
You mean to what God called Jonah to?
yeah, like
Okay.
Jonah said no to the first thing, and then he ended up in the.
Oh, and it ended up even worse. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, Solomon says something like that too in terms of relationships, where he talks about if you do get seduced by the loose woman, it won't go well for you. He says
Yeah.
it's like taking a hot coal to your breast or to your shirt. It's going to catch fire. You're going to get burnt.
Yeah. Yeah. Third talk he did was the saints and elders on married life. So he tells a lot of stories about people who put their ministry before their family and how that turned out, and how your family, well, your spouse is your primary ministry, and then everything else is secondary, even if you're a priest. He says some people do good works for more praise and neglect their families. So there was a story he told about a priest who got married, and then he got a parish, and he wanted to build a building, and he was like coming home late every night because he was building a church, and she was like mad at him for coming home late. And he went to his spiritual advisors, and they were like, why do you want to work so late? He's like, because I want to get it done fast. And he's like, why? And he's like, so the people will be proud of me. And he's like, okay, so you're doing this for you, right? You're not building a church for God. You're building a parish so people will admire you, and you're neglecting your home life. So that's a big pitfall that people can fall into, especially people in ministry, is that their first ministry is their family, and then their second ministry is the. That make sense?
So most important thing in my life should be a YouTube channel is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Getting money.
Getting
is
subs,
the most important.
numbers, and clicks.
Yeah, likes and thumbs up.
So likes and thumbs up, Instagram, Jamie. Right?
Yeah.
In that
Yeah.
order.
No,
okay.
no. Like Twitter.
Wait, so Twitter goes above Instagram? I'm confused.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So money, fame, power.
Instagram, Twitter. Okay.
Babes.
Clicks,
Those all come before
subs.
me.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're in the top 10 though.
Okay. Is the chat doing good? Is anyone saying anything?
Yeah, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them.
No. Okay. Let's see.
You have social validation in the chat. Don't worry. They socially validate you. They socially validate you. You have an honorary social validation from the Jason Elsa's chat.
Nice.
Go ahead. We're listening intently.
He talks about sexual equality in marriage, the authority over each other's bodies sexually.
This is in the Middle Ages called the marital debt.
Oh, yeah?
The marital obligation, yes.
He says you can't deprive your spouse of intimacy unless under mutual agreement for fasting and prayer for a time. And if you don't, then they could be tempted to sin, and it would also be your fault. You'd be co-guilty in that. So there's no such thing as a perfect spouse. He says a spouse with issues might be your chance to enter paradise.
Depending on the issues.
Yeah, depending on how you deal with what you've been dealt.
Yes. Pray you
Right.
don't fall into the Hosea situation, right?
No. There will never be an engagement without friction, nor should there be, because we are supposed to be sharpening each other, perfecting each other, and sanctifying each other. This is your opportunity to practice your virtues. So if you never had any trials or problems or opposition, then how can you exercise your Christian faith, right?
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah, I mean, that's like, when God tests Abraham, it's not because God lacks the knowledge of Abraham's faith, it's to make his faith manifest.
Yeah. He says, when you are mature enough to get married, do it before you get too old, because the older you get, the less attractive marriage becomes, because you are accustomed to being selfish and you are feral. He said you're like a wild beast who can't be tamed anymore. You can't be perfected or sanctified through marriage because
You're set in your ways. I know about this. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm 40 and I've never been 41. I don't even know how old I am, but somewhere in the fours, and haven't been married, so I don't know what this is like. But I hear tell of such things. I guess we'll find out, won't we?
Mm-hmm. So that is all I have from Priest Monk Cosmos today.
Okay, that was good. Those are good points.
He's got several more hours of me to go through. I recommend I recommend going over and checking out all his talks. After I'm done with these, I'm going to
I have the link in there.
Yeah.
So
now we are on to If He Only Knew. If he only knew. I don't know what the towels are.
So it's got bath towels. So.
I know. Oh, maybe because he folds the towels. I don't know. To help out. I don't know what. Because her book has a rumpled up towel.
Oh, ha ha ha! Because you are the ordering of the house, and dudes throw the towels down. They don't give a shit.
Or maybe guys are logical and women are messy, emotional. I don't know.
No, wait a minute.
Anyways,
I thought the ordered towel was on the girls.
Ordered towels is boys. If men only knew what women want.
That doesn't make any sense. Oh, so the women want the towel to be folded. That's the point. I see.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
But I like folding towels. I don't mind doing that.
Right.
If he only knew, Dr. Gary
If you're a guy, folding a towel means the draping over anything. That is folding the towel. It just drapes over anything, right? It drapes over a chair.
Technically, that's folded, man.
It drapes over. It is. That's what I'm saying. It drapes over the shower bar. So. Anyway.
So this book starts off in 1 Peter 3:7. You husbands, in the same way, live with your wives in an understanding way. So basically, get to know your woman. Get to know your specific woman. They're not all standard issue, make and model. Not all rules apply to every woman.
What happens when we erect the perfect state and we get government issued wives? Then what?
Are they robotic or are they organic?
Well, they're probably going to be made in a clone lab, right?
Well, then you have to know what your clone needs. You'll have to understand the operational manual of your specific model.
Proceed.
Yeah. So, see, he starts off talking about what, chat? What did they say?
They're saying, what happens if you don't use towels? How does the marriage function if...
What if you just blow dry each other with blow dryers? Cleaner.
Are you fabulously wealthy and you have a giant blow drying apparatus in the bathroom?
Like a car. I just walked through the car wash thing in my house. He says, your wife is a tender creature that should have a sticker that says very important to handle with care. So women are strong, yes, but they're also tender hearted. Okay.
Yes, they're like waffle cones. They're sweet, but if you touch them, they break.
Yeah.
Women are the human equivalent of waffle cones. That's just a joke. It's just a joke.
Men have unrealistic expectations and few caring skills. So,
Few what?
men have unrealistic expectations and few caring skills.
Yes.
Because,
we do not give a flip.
well, you do, but you're just not as good at it as women.
Yeah, you're made that
Which
way.
is a God-given strength and weakness, you know?
You're made that way.
Yeah. So it's something that men have to put effort into learning how to care.
We have to put effort into throwing that onto you to do. you do the nurturing care stuff. It's not me.
Most men don't have an education on how to cultivate a meaningful relationship. It's not something
Especially not with generations raised by single moms. So yes.
Yes, and not only with a romantic relationship, they're not as adept as women at all relationships, right? Friends, parents, siblings.
Maybe.
Women are just.
I don't know.
Women are just
I don't
naturally
know.
like better.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to. This is the only part where I'm gonna have to debate a little bit because.
Okay, you can debate him. He's scary, Smiley.
Yeah, because I mean, if you go back to Aristotle wrote a famous treatise where he talked about friendship. That one of the greatest things in life is friendship, and I think that men can. I think both men and women can easily cultivate lifelong friendships. So.
Okay.
Maybe it comes a little easier to women. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. So there has to be a concentrated effort to understand each other's differences. He said Freud had 30 years of studying psychology and he still did not understand women. That's a funny point. Women are personal, they're into feelings, relationships. Men are practical, logical, conquest-oriented, and goal-oriented.
Yep. We know that's true. Which is why
he says,
it's very problematic to have two people, trying to complete these big career goals. You know what I mean? That doesn't really work.
Oh, yeah.
It just causes a lot of strife.
It's not good for men to be alone. Women become an intimate part of her surroundings. She views her house as an extension of herself. Men are more identified with their achievements and their status. So
there's a boomer fat joke in here. Over time, she extends herself to be the same as the house. Right.
Yeah. It says women tend to find their identity in close relationships while men gain their identity through vocation. Women often need more time to adjust to change. Women express anger verbally, men express it physically.
Right.
Testosterone. A woman who resents her husband's focus and drive to succeed is fighting against his basic biological nature. I don't know who would go against that, but let's see. They're very different sexually. A woman's sexual drive tends to be related to her menstrual cycle. A man's is more constant.
Unless he has his man period.
Yeah. A woman likes to be touched and hear romantic words. She's more attracted to his personality. A man is more attracted to her looks.
Yes, we affirm that.
Women have better instincts about what the relationship should look like. So this is just the rule. There's exceptions, obviously, but women are better at developing meaningful multi-level relationships that encompass the sex, the friendship, the working, the...
How's Gary Smalley going to write this? He's a man. How's he know?
How does he know?
Yeah.
I guess for being married all this time and doing counseling, marriage counseling, stuff like that.
Okay. I haven't read the book, so I'll trust you. I'm just playing around.
Yeah. So a man's training on relationships was what he observed at home. So that can be a good or bad thing. So whatever he saw his parents' relationship looking like is the only training that he's gotten on
Yes,
relationships.
I see.
Women have intuition that men should
I played a
be
Matrix
sensitive to.
sim game for the last 20 years. I've had a relationship with my Matrix sim. I've learned how to deal with women through the Matrix sim game.
You have a waifu pillow?
Huh?
A waifu pillow?
It has your face on it though. So I practiced with how to lay with the pillow. It's that Asian pillow that has the big fake arm, so that I feel comfort at night.
Yeah, women listen to women's intuition. Oh, he said a story that was kind of like, remember when
Somebody
I
in the
cried?
chat said, for men to be successful with women, the key is two things. One, this is a boomer joke, but it's funny. Master pretending to pay attention, and ace the skill of lying. It's just a joke. Is that how we? Is that what we do?
Lie? I think
She was making a joke. It's a boomer joke. You want to get along with women, pretend to pay attention, and figure out how to lie.
Yeah. Remember that time you got a job offer in another state and I started crying?
Yes.
So he
How
tells
could I
the story.
forget?
He tells the story exactly kind of like that. He's like, I should have listened to my wife when she cried about that because it was a bad decision. So,
Well, but the correctness of the decision was not based on your crying, as if it's not like it's an oracle of Delphi. Like, oh, what do I do? Oh, the bones have cried. The bones have spoken. Right. So then I was supposed to, no, we had to go look and see, and it turned out that your oracle of Delphi bones that cried turned out to be correct. But yes, okay. From now on, I'll use you as a divining rod for all my future decisions.
If an idea makes me cry, maybe we should.
Okay, we'll do that from now on.
Women want love, men want respect.
RESPECTLOVE.
When you, let's see, 33.
Is that a code? Masonic code? Okay, you there? Hello?
Yeah, I'm just looking at my notes. Let's see.
Well,
okay, what?
go ahead.
He's talking about when you are unhappy with your wife and her shortcomings, there could be things that you are doing that contribute to that.
Or you could just be right and she has shortcomings.
Yeah. Affection. Let's see.
I'm gonna have to start singing if we can't have
you
it.
Can't
we can't have dead air.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to start singing.
You can't love someone who, love is not about how you feel, is what he's talking about. That's called affection. They make you feel good, you like them. What?
Love is blind. I was just thinking of cliches, just random.
I know. There's so many cliches. So there's affection, which feels like love, but it's not, because as soon as you get in a fight, then you don't have affection anymore and you don't love them.
Yeah.
There's passion, lust. which can turn into hatred the fastest if it goes bad. I think he told the story of, what's his name? Himnon and Tamar.
In Genesis?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Then there's genuine love, which is let me help you. So affection says, I love how you make me feel. Passion says, that's hot. Genuine love says, I want to help you. I want to serve you. That's genuine love.
So Crocs, love is a battlefield.
Yeah.
We are strong. No one can tell us we're wrong.
You have to be mature. There's low levels of maturity, high levels of maturity. Focusing on what you could get out of life instead of what you can give is immature. Immature love is a desire to use other people for personal happiness. He said, you need to try and meet your wife's needs from her point of view and not your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Because a man's idea of showing love can backfire sometimes.
Yes. Like I said, I offer you the money. Here, I buy you off. Here. How many love points do I get if I give you this money?
Yeah.
Here's more money, love me more. There should be an equation that should equal out. I'm buying your loyalty and love.
Mm-hmm. If your woman was a flower or or a plant, you have to figure out which one she is.
What kind of plant, man?
Yeah, what kind of soil does she need? Because what makes one woman happy is not going to make the next woman happy. You have to figure out your woman.
We all know what makes them all happy. There's one commonality.
Money?
Yeah, I was just making a joke.
Oh, okay.
I'm in a mode of just constantly joking. I'm sorry. This is just...
That's okay.
We have an interesting chat
woman's
tonight,
affection, what?
We have an interesting chat tonight. Keep going.
Anybody say anything good?
Yes, you have received social validation. Continue.
Okay. Let's see. A woman's affection toward her husband is diminished when he begins to prefer other activities or people over her.
Mm-hmm.
Many husbands are shocked when their wives leave them for, quote, no reason, but she needs much more than things.
Yes.
If your wife doesn't sense that same excitement in you when you're with her, she has a gnawing sense of failure because she feels she isn't as attractive to you as your activities or friends. This can be devastating to a woman's sense of personal worth and security.
Mm.
So if you're constantly saying you'd rather be at work, you'd rather be at your friends, you'd rather be golfing.
Right.
If you can easily cancel your plans with her and put other people above her, she's going to lose affection for you. Not to say you can't do things alone. You can't have your own interests. But he makes the point that when a woman feels secure in your love and affection, that you can go do whatever you want as long as she knows that she's a priority. If she needs you, you'll drop it. Does that make sense? Yeah. You'll have a lot more leash to go and do whatever.
It also helps. It also helps in a relationship if you can be a Kwisatz Haderach.
Yeah.
Because then you can just pronounce a word and split bodies in half. Yeah. And then you always get your way. So if you can be the universe's super being, that helps as well.
Here's a point. It's easier for men to turn down their wife than to say no to other people. And this connects to that story by Father Cosmas about the priest who wanted to build a parish fast. Mm-hmm. For the glory of himself. So that's why you should check with your wife before you make lots of plans or I have to spend a lot of time away from home just to make sure she's all right with it. Feelings follow actions. That was interesting. So if you are not feeling affection for somebody, but you start to treat them like you are, then the feelings will follow later.
Okay. So we're coming up on an hour. Do you want to get to the super chats, or what do you want to do?
Well, we are almost halfway done with the book, so maybe we can save it for
Part 2.
members.
Okay. We can do that.
Let's get through this chapter and then we'll do super chat.
Okay.
Good?
Yep, go.
Okay. Let's see, 53. A humble apology will gain more respect from your wife than winning an argument. So if men need respect, in the New Testament, wives respect your husbands, husbands love your wives, that verse. So if what men want and need is respect, then being humble and apologizing will get that more than actually being right or winning some kind of dispute from your wife.
Well, depends on the situation. You can't always be apologizing, because then you
No,
come off
you
weak.
don't have to be like a whimpering wet towel, but
Yeah.
you don't respect that either. He says men lose affection when something is conquered. So if you have a girl and you marry her and you locked her down, he's saying it's sometimes men can lose that drive and affection because they're no longer pursuing that thing that they've attained. Now their focus is on something else to attain, not remembering that the relationship is something that has to be tended and not acquired. Right? Yeah, you don't have to be around 24/7 if she knows you'd be willing to drop what you're doing if she is having an emergency. And he said women won't usually take advantage of this if they're a good person. If you give her your credit card, she's not going to drain your bank account. She's going to make
she's not going to martyr my
sensible purchases. Yeah, and if you give her that bank account of your priority, she's not going to abuse that. Typically. Let's see. When you sacrifice for the sake of your relationship, you gain more. That's the principle of give up your life to lose it. I mean, give up, die to gain, whatever. You know what I'm talking about? He told a story about they had a child that he didn't want, and he didn't feel much towards that child. And then later on, that child grew up and gave him a kidney that saved his life. So you don't always know why God is giving you things that you don't want or can't handle, because in the future it could save your life.
Yeah, that's a good point. I once gave a child a kidney in a jar as well to save his life.
Whoever wants to save
It wasn't my kidney, it was
it.
just a kidney in a jar I found.
Yeah. Whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. That's the verse he's talking about.
Right. About ready for
He
super
says,
chat?
I'm finding that the more important a man's...
Go ahead.
Yeah, the last sentence in this chapter, he says, I'm finding that the more important a man's wife is to him, the more she encourages him to enjoy life. So that is half of Gary Smalley, if he only knew, and the teachings of Father Priest Monk Cosmos for tonight. We can do super chats, and then we'll do the other half of if he only knew for members.
Okay. Let's see here. Alt Monarch is for $5. I divorced a Protestant from an atheist. I divorced a Protestant from an atheist. I divorced as a... Okay. Because now I'm thinking that like he was the machinery behind divorcing a Protestant from an atheist so that he could get the Protestant. And no, that's not what he means. He means I divorced as a Protestant from an atheist. Starting my catechesis, the priest will approve. Will the priest approve of them? I don't know. That is not my field or forte. I do not know canon law. I cannot give you canonical advice, nor would I even begin to want to. But I do thank you for reaching out to me. But yeah, I would just say you could reach out to people in the clergy who handle those things. Fresh whole milk A299. Jamie is being interviewed live from the kitchen. Yes, my kitchen is a library. And then Jamie's kitchen has a bed in it. Yes, that makes perfect sense. Fresh whole, Piccolo, $5. If she can cook and she likes to say inside, then she is the one. Well, then that means that everyone in the coronavirus is now marriage material. Because everybody is staying inside and having to go. Bayesh Runner, $10. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much for that $10, Vayesh Runner, and you keep up the good work as well, because it is a good work to send me your money so that I can make it rain. SDF, $10. Do you have any tips for couples who came to Orthodoxy in the relationship? For background, me and my girlfriend were secular most of our lives when we started attending a parish 9 months ago. Jamie, what do you think is the most applicable, practical observation that you have about, since both of us came to Orthodoxy in the midst of our relationship, what do you think has helped the most?
I think the thing that really kept us together when we were apart for long stretches of time was reading the Bible together.
Definitely a big one.
I think if we hadn't had that, then we probably would have found company with other people, because at one time, that's all I had to do was I had a Bible and a guitar. I had no TV. I had no internet. I had no friends. Yeah. I had, so
you were a groupie back. That was back when you were a groupie following.
Yeah.
You were following Hootie and the Blowfish.
If we didn't have that activity, we probably would have, found other friends and dated other people. But we stayed reading every single night. He would text me, "Are you ready to read?" And it kept me at home. It kept me in the room. It kept me not, going out and trying to be social. So definitely read together, pray together, go to church together, ask your priest, don't live together. Ask your priest to bless your engagement if you're going to get engaged soon. Think about it. If you're not, if both of you aren't wanting to marry each other, then maybe we should talk about that, because you might be wasting the other person's time.
Don't waste time. Yeah. So DC Customs, $20. She says, "Cheers to the both of you. I love the talk tonight, and I wish you both the best." We wish you the best as well, DC Customs. Happy night to you. Cholo Mexicano, $10. She says, "Does this mean that the cholas are not marriage material? Que loco vida o mi." I don't know, man. I mean,
well,
it just depends.
What do you mean, like?
I went on one date one time with a Mexican girl, and she was a Metallica fanatic, and so I did not continue dating her. That's my only insight on that question. I don't know any cholas. Do you know any? I don't know. I can't speak to that. But I don't want my friend Cholo to get screwed over.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any cholas?
Well, is he marriage material? Because that's something you have to think about.
Oh, Jamie just burnt Cholo.
Because a lot of people that go out searching for the perfect wife can't even explain why they would even make a good husband. So.
Shining Diamond, $5. When is the next film analysis? I hope it's Team America. Yes, we need to get to that. It's on the list. It's on the list. I've got a whole bunch of movies stacked up to do. But thank you for that, Shining Diamond. Much appreciated. Franklin Chan, soon. The next movie analysis will be soon. Franklin Chan, $15. Thank you for the work, Jay and Jamie. Thank you, Franklin Chan, longtime supporter. Much peace and love to Franklin Chan. John, $2. What do you think is the mark of the beast? I mean, we'll know when that time comes. It could be. But I would not hazard to guess, just because there's discussions of, geopolitical fears and whatnot at the present time that, well, let's jump to the conclusion that's that it is the end times thing. It could be, but we'll know, the saints say, as the time approaches. But if this present situation isn't that, then it'll be probably something close to that. Amid the Ruins, our music source. Always check out Amid the Ruins 1453. His music is all housed at his SoundCloud and his YouTube channel, and you can help him, support him by going and purchasing the stuff at the SoundCloud, which is linked at his channel. So check out Amid the Ruins 1453. I will remember to put the link to his channel because he does all the Dyer Wave and more. So definitely follow Amid the Ruin, and much appreciation to him for all those sweet sounds. In fact, I'm going to do that. I always forget people's channels when I'm doing this stuff. DC Customs, again, for $10. Off topic, can you summarize your stance on monarchy? Secondly, have you reviewed the Gnostic elements in Kingdom of Heaven? I assume you mean the Ridley Scott silly take on... I do remember there being something Gnostic in that movie, but it's not very good, so I never did revisit it. But I was fairly adept at film analysis when I did see it when it came out. I don't remember what is Gnostic about it, but maybe I should revisit it. It would be good to look at the Gnosticism there. I think Ridley Scott tries to, do this like sort of anti-Christian approach to Kingdom of Heaven. Shocker, because it's about the Crusades. That's what I remember, so that's probably how it goes into Gnosticism. In terms of monarchy, I would say if you look down on the page, the main page of the my YouTube channel, you'll see a lecture series on philosophy and theology, and one of those is church and state. So that will summarize the stance on monarchy. Well, that's the full talk, but basically I just think it's the pattern of government that we see in Scripture. But that doesn't mean that I'm being a LARPer and saying that we all need to just follow monarchies, because there's plenty of degenerate monarchies today. The Thoughts of a Pilgrim, $5. Do you have any advice for single men who are seeking and wanting to meet their future spouse? You need to be in the church, you need to be regularly attending, and you need to trust God. It's really that simple. I mean, look at the story of Jacob in Scripture. What?
Yeah, go to church functions. Every Orthodox church has conferences, they have classes, they have ministries, the more different things you can plug into, the more chance you'll have of meeting somebody that you like.
I said Jacob, I meant Isaac, excuse me. The story of Isaac, how the way they find Isaac a wife. And by the way, don't put finding a wife as the priority of your life. You'll never find someone who respects you if the priority in your life is out looking for a woman. Prioritize establishing yourself, and the woman will come. That's what I say. Always support Jay, never annoy him. Awesome stream as always. My name is Alex. These are pesos. Okay, so you've got a Greek name, but you're sending me pesos. That's confusing to me, though, because I don't know what the Greek denarii. I don't. What's the Greek coin? Is that like the biblical times of what the Greek coin? I don't know. What's the Greek coinage called today?
Euros.
Gyros?
Euros, yeah.
It's gyro. It is. It's gyros. Yeah. Yes, pay me in gyros, and I'll send 10% to Father Peter here since he's in Greece. All right, thank you guys very much. It was a fun show tonight. And if you want to hear the second half, we will listen to Jamie summarize the materials that she studied. I am not a competent person to give any advice in this arena. I'm here to learn as a fellow learner with the rest of you. So don't look to me for any kind of relationship and marriage advice. We are simply trying to look to Drachma. That's what I was trying to think of. We are trying to look to the people who we respect, like Father. Is it Cosmos? Is that his name? What's his name? Father Maximus or Cosmos? I get him
Priest Monk Cosmos.
Priest Monk Cosmos. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you.
Oh, bye.
Bye, everyone.